Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. A great article here from Reuters. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. So this is an older article from a few weeks back, but it's still relevant for the topics in today's video. So AT&T is really the most interesting carrier to try and figure out of the bunch. They AT&T tends to make certain moves, right? So to start with the US Cellular purchase, they're going to get more spectrum for $1 billion. That's from US Cellular. Then there's 4.9. They probably are looking into trying to get the rest of the Dish 3.45 spectrum. So lots of potential spectrum on the table for AT&T. So that's one, right? That's why it makes them interesting, because none of it is a guarantee besides what you see here based on the T-Mobile approval. And then the 4.9, that's already been approved by the FCC, right? It might go through litigation and the courts, but eventually it should end up with AT&T. But outside of that, none of that is really guaranteed, right? Them trying to get the rest of the DoD from Dish, AT&T potentially, right? Potentially could purchase another player, right? Maybe C Spire or Viero, whoever else is out there, right? Those are all possibilities. But when it comes to being aggressive, being loud, AT&T really falls under the radar. But yet, at the same time, they still continue to grow consistently on a consistent basis. They've had the lowest churn for like the last 4 quarters. So it makes you really question, like, does this whole network really matter? And yes, it does, but it's not everything. It doesn't mean everything. As long as it works for the consumer, that's all they tend to care about. As long as they can place the phone call, send the email, send the text, check a few things here and there, for the most part, they're okay. And I'll point out another example. I have a coworker who has an iPhone, I think 7 or 8, very old device. And he's on AT&T's LTE network. And he hardly uses his phone, right? But as long as he can call his wife, she can call him. He can send a few messages here and there. People can call him on Messenger. He doesn't need anything else. He doesn't even need a newer device. And I think that's most of what AT&T has attracted over the years. The good enough, they just want it to work. And I think it's working for the company. It really is. So what's really out there for AT&T left, right? The rest of the Dish DoD, perhaps. They're getting the US Cellular spectrum once the T-Mobile acquisition is approved. 4.9 is in the plans. That's another big project that they're going to have to plan for. I mean, they have a lot of stuff in the pipeline. They're very busy right now already, right? The first big one, the biggest priority right now, is going to be the Nokia to Ericsson conversions. The reason is they want to get it done as quickly as possible. So fiber is still the biggest part of the company, but right now that conversion has taken priority because they want to get this done. End of 26, they want to have like 90+% done, if not more. They want to get this over with. So they're going into overdrive to finish out this year. For those of you who have seen the Reddit posts and other people post, they're going into overdrive, and that momentum will carry into 2025. There's going to be a lot of ripping and replacing in Nokia markets, which I got to point it out. Some people are still saying they have mixed feelings about, because that's billions of dollars that you're reinvesting into a market that could have used further densification, more small cells, more DAS systems, but yet you're just spending billions to retouch the footprint that's already been existing, just to upgrade it to Ericsson equipment. Now, that in itself is going to lead to a better performing network. We've seen that just now. The rip and replace is ramping up. And we've seen it already that the Ericsson network just performs better. Faster upload, faster download, better pings, everything, loaded ping, everything across the board is just that much better. And we've seen that this early on in the process. So from that perspective, I'd have to argue against some of the people that have mixed feelings. But I also understand all the billions of dollars AT&T could have reinvested into the Nokia markets, getting more densification, more small cells, more macros, whatever the case. The Nokia equipment, it's not the best. We see that again over and over again. And right now, once this project is completed, T-Mobile will be the only carrier in the US to carry Nokia equipment. Verizon moved away from it. AT&T moved away from it. It's got to be for a reason. Let's not kid ourselves. It's not anywhere close to being a top-notch product. It's just not. It has fans in it. That is a big knock by a lot of people in the industry. So maybe Nokia can get their act together and they produce some of the best equipment they've ever done in the future. It's possible. But for now, their equipment just doesn't stack up. Not to Ericsson and not even to Samsung, if we're being honest. And I think that's a huge reason why Verizon moved away and AT&T moved away. Nokia, during that transition, right? Before that was announced, I'm sure Verizon approached them because they were the first ones to do it. I'm sure they approached Nokia, and Nokia should have throwing everything at Verizon. The cheapest possible cost, this, that, and the third. And Verizon very likely turned it down because of the poor performing equipment. They probably thought to themselves it was already pretty bad during LTE. Now that we're transitioning to the C-band, mid-band, we've been testing your stuff. It's just not going to work out for us. I think that's how that went. And they chose Samsung. And they're aggressively deploying the Samsung equipment now across those Nokia markets. And they should be largely done with that conversion. So now AT&T is embarking that journey very aggressively. And they're very busy with that right now. So you probably won't hear much else from AT&T. We have an analyst day December 3rd. That's Tuesday coming up. T-Mobile also presents on that day, but AT&T's is probably going to be much longer. So we'll see what the future outlook looks like. Hopefully we get some network updates, but I don't think we'll hear much. I heard a quote the other day or a saying that when AT&T gets more spectrum, they tend to cancel densification plans. And from what I'm hearing behind the scenes, that's what's happening again. Everything's being pushed back now through 2028 because of this Nokia to Ericsson conversion. And it's a very aggressive one. We're talking majority of resources going to that deployment. So for now, for the time being, AT&T is very interesting, right? But we're not getting a lot from them from a media perspective. Like I said, December 3rd is coming up, so we'll get some big information there, I hope. But they're not the ones to come out with the flashy deals. They stick to what they know, right? New and existing customers get the same phone deals. They're going to stick to that. They're not doing anything out of the ordinary. They were going to bring back Max. For those of you who remember that didn't even come to fruition. We're still waiting for that. So I don't see them going too deep into their perks pocket, if you will. I just see them riding it out. I see them riding out this Nokia to Ericsson conversion, that leading to a better performing network, and that maybe even lowering churn. Who knows, right? Because that's how much better Ericsson equipment is. And then just invest into fiber. That's how I see that going for them. Fiber to the cell, whatever the case may be. Could we get a surprise M&A, surprise acquisition from AT&T? It's possible. They want to go bigger on fiber, scale that, get into areas that they're not in today. It's possible that they buy someone else. But on the wireless side, I just don't see them too excited anymore. I still see them chasing after spectrum because that's their bread and butter. They still have to They still have to invest into the wireless business. But for them to look at being an underdog, quote unquote, and getting this and doing this, kind of like what T-Mobile's doing, I don't see AT&T doing that anymore. They've enjoyed wireless success for a lot of years. They still enjoy a lot of enterprise accounts today. But what they want to go after, in my opinion, and what they've stated publicly, it's fiber. Each year they want to increase the fiber miles that they're building. They want to get to more homes passed. They want to be the biggest fiber player in the US. And not only natively, but also now with leasing and doing the third party. They're doing that too. They're doing it in BlackRock, although I will say AT&T knows how to own and operate this. So I would not be surprised if they start buying back those assets from those third parties like BlackRock and if they're splitting that 1/3, however they're splitting it, I can see AT&T buying that back with a very, very, very attractive offer because they know how to own and operate. They have an entire wireline section. So to them, it's not a big deal, right? If T-Mobile were to do that, it would be a big deal. They don't have a wireline section. They don't know how to run and own and operate it. With AT&T, totally different ballgame. So AT&T is a very interesting carrier to keep your eye on, but don't expect anything super out of the ordinary. I wouldn't expect that from them. It's just doesn't make much sense, right? You kind of see how they operate. You just know it's AT&T. Don't expect anything out of the ordinary. Don't expect anything out of the left field. It's just probably not going to happen. Could we get a surprise or two? Very possible. But for now, they want to stick to being this well-oiled machine, grow quarterly, low churn, enhance the FWA experience, grow that a bit more, and then the rest is all going to fiber. And that's a big part of the company, and I think that's what we will hear come December 3rd. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.